He goes, because it's like when they start off, they knock on the door, say, "You have any work?" And I say, "Well, what do you do?" I say, "Anything for money." And yeah, so when you're getting going, you do anything for money, right? And then once people cross seven figures, then it's like growth all of a sudden gets stunted because it depends on you to do everything. And so in order to bust through that ceiling and hit the next level, there's a couple things that have to happen. One is you need.
Welcome to 7 to 8, our special series on 7 to 8 figure entrepreneurs. In this special series, I interview $1 million, some $10 million, and even some $1 million business owners who uncovered their twists and turns in their entrepreneurial adventure in order to help you to avoid the potholes and stick to the fast track. Welcome now to center stage, our next special guest. Hey there, peeps. This is Michelle Nedelec, and I'm super glad that you're here with us today because I'm here with my most amazing guest, Chris. Chris, thank you so much for being here with us today.
Thanks, Michelle.
Awesome. So give us a highlight of who you are and what you do for business.
Yeah, so I'm Chris Goegan. I'm owner of Engineered Growth Systems, and I from Canada, live in California. Got 4 kids and a black lab. I play hockey, speak funny, and I think that's the personal side. The business side, we grow and scale businesses. Is what my business does.
Nice, I love it. So how did you get into scaling businesses as a thing?
Yeah, it's the name of the business is Engineered Growth Systems. So it goes back to my days as an engineer, and it wasn't by design. I wish I was smart enough, but I'm not that smart. Started off as an engineer, and I built high volume manufacturing lines for a Ford Motor Company. Then I moved to California, built parts for the International Space Station program, a bunch of other things, and I saw how much engineers made, and then it's like, oh, that's not very encouraging. And then so I got into sales, banged out over 100,000 cold calls, and then and I wasn't good at it at all initially, and then I had some mentors that came along and helped me out, and then I got into marketing, did a ton of direct mail. I was actually going to buy a direct mail franchise, but then I figured, I'd save myself a few $100,000 and just start up a business instead. And so did a ton of direct mail. Then along came this thing called the internet. Maybe you've heard of it, and then yeah, and so I blend engineering, sales, and marketing together, and we build growth plans with companies, and then help them roll them out to get to 7, 8+ figures.
Nice, I love it. So when it comes to direct marketing, because I mean, I get that the internet came along, but I also found that direct mailouts were still incredibly successful, and the ones that stuck to it were successful. Are you still using that as part of your methods and strategies, or has that gone by the
Yeah,
wayside?
yeah, because it's like I have this engineered approach to growing businesses,
Hmm?
where like when I was an engineer for Ford and had an assembly line, we had to make 1 million engines defect free every single year. And so like on the cylinder block, for example, had to put a hole in the cylinder block, and it had to be in the like exact same spot, the exact same size every single time. So I didn't care what technology we used. I don't care, we drilled, ream, burnish, rolled, burnish, board. I didn't care what technology we used. All I cared is that the hole was in the right spot, the right size every time. So when it comes to marketing, it's like I've got like an engineer's mindset on, where it's like I don't try to stuff anything in. I just look at what's the best traffic platforms, plural, multiple, to get the best end result for the lowest cost possible. So direct
Right.
mail is a fantastic thing to do, especially when you look at like cost per clicks and stuff like that for these online platforms being so high. Direct mail is absolutely fantastic. You can do some incredible things with it. But we use online stuff, so we use a lot of online and offline stuff. So it's a big mix of things.
Nice. So talk to me about engineered growth and how does it differ from other programs? Like when you come in, what kind of things can people expect to experience?
Yeah, good question, Michelle. Because you like when people start businesses off, like to get it off the ground, you just got to do a ton of work. It's just a lot of sweat equity, and you wear 100 different hats. Like I remember when I was an engineer, we had this. We used to outsource a lot of work to this one company called AFM, and I remember asking my engineering managers. These guys were brilliant. They did incredible like work. They made like custom molds and so I asked the engineering manager, I was like, "What does AFM stand for?" And he laughed. I'm like, all right, there's a story. He goes, yeah, it stands for anything for money. And I'm like, what is that? He says, well, when they
That was
started
the
off,
best one I've ever heard.
oh, yeah, I loved it. It's so self-explanatory. It goes, because it's like when they start off, they knock on the door, say, you have any work? And I say, well, what do you do? I say, anything for money. And yeah, so when you're getting going, you do anything for money, right? And then once people cross seven figures, then it's like growth all of a sudden gets stunted because it depends on you to do everything. And so in order to bust through that ceiling and hit the next level, there's a couple things that have to happen. One is you need a really compelling vision. The team's got to be all on the same page, and then you have to have a good strategy, and then a plan to roll that strategy out. And which involves removing the owner from the one being all the magic all the time, doing everything all the time. Like otherwise, to me, there's nothing more maddening than the lack of growth. Well, actually, a lack of growth over a sustained period of time. But the other side of it is growth with no systems. When you have growth with no systems, it's even more maddening because you have even less time now. I mean, you'll have even less time then than you have now, if that's even imaginable.
Absolutely. They're like, I'll solve my problems with sales. It's like, no, that'll just break the system that you have. Actually, that's what that'll do.
Yeah, yeah,
Like,
yeah.
so when's the best time to start putting in systems? Because I know a lot of people are like, well, I don't want to put systems in if that's not the way we're going to be doing it 6 months down the road, because then that becomes a waste of time. And, there's this whole mindset around how do I systemize what I'm doing?
Yeah, because because initially when you're in that AFM stage, it's like, and that can last up until like you're in the six figures and seven figures, but you hit a point where it's just like, you know what, I don't like to do this, I don't like to do that. This is what we do. This is the core of what we specialize in. This is what we're all about. Like when you have that, then it's a fantastic time to put systems in. We actually help people. We shortcut this and help people put them in earlier. But you still have to go through that iteration of trying to figure out who you are, who you want to be in the market, and the specific someone you want to be to solve a specific problem for a specific somebody. And then when you have that, then you can build these growth systems out and really leverage them for like really big growth.
Nice. So when it comes to setting up those systems, is there a best way to do it? A certain kind of plan that you look at to go, okay, you need to have this in place first before you can even start thinking about putting in a system for that? Or is it like when you come up with something, just record it and we'll figure it out later? How do you go about it?
Yeah, and I'm gonna back up a step on that question because like a lot of people have a misconception of systems, or maybe a different definition of systems than what I would consider. So I built hundreds and hundreds of systems in operations and sales and marketing, and a system, it doesn't have to be like people think it's this like 3-inch thick document that you put it down on the desk, it goes boom, and then nobody it's like I got this done, and then nobody ever refers to it. It's a pain in the butt to develop, and then it sits there and nobody ever looks at it. Well, that's not necessarily true because it's like a system could be just as simple as like just starting it off in your head. I know like every systems book and stuff like that will beg to differ, but you got to create in your head first. You got to or on a legal paper or on a whiteboard. You develop the system out for just as this is how we do things here. Like on the sales side, this is how we do our sales process. We're going to do an initial call, or we're going to do a second call. We're going to do this, and we're going to do this, and we're going to do this. You just start chunking it out, and you don't make it detailed until you're at the point where it's like you've got it down, which is usually like a few iterations later. So because if you do the big thing like thing of paper, like people won't listen to it or won't follow it or won't do it. So you got to figure out this is how we do it. Now once we know how to do it, let's start documenting it, but document it in a way where people can be trained off it and use it. So
Nice. I
so
love it. And do you find that there's a difference between, say, kind of operations, how we do things, marketing, sales, overall strategy? Is there a place to start? How do you do it?
yeah, yeah. So when it comes to um like because before systems, it's there's got to be, because the core of it is not to build systems. It's to scale a business, and to
Mhm.
scale a business that frees up the owner's time,
Right.
and so before that can be done, there's got to be a new vision. Because once you're at seven figures, life kind of gets all right. Like you know, bills are paid. Well, for the most part, there's other people who aren't that. They don't know their numbers. Their margins are horrible. That's a different story. I'm talking about people who are like at a healthy seven figures, and like bills are paid. They have money to do some stuff. They usually don't have a lot of time. So there needs to be like a new compelling vision, something that you really want. In fact, it's like a company working with, they're at 10 million, want to get to 50 million. If their goal is to get to like 10 to 12 million, they don't need to do much. If you're at 4 million and your goal is to get to 5 million, you don't need to do much typically. You just keep doing what you're doing, maybe do a little bit more, you get a little bit more of an uptake. But when you want to do something new, you got to have this new compelling vision, because you're going to need a push to get going. And then once you have that vision, then it's time to develop strategy, and then roll it out. So like when you're looking at systems, it's no systems matter until you have that vision, and that's got to be like something for you. Once you have that, then we start like chunking it down. We start looking at marketing systems. We start looking at sales systems. We start looking at operational systems, and we look at where the biggest bottlenecks are of the owner's time, or the key members' time, where those biggest bottlenecks are, and then we look at, okay, what we can do to free up the time, to avail more time, because we want to work on the marketing side is really, really, really critical. The marketing and then the sales, all three blend together, but developing the more time to work on marketing and sales.
Love that. And so when you're looking at a business, kind of, is there preliminary things that you're looking at? Are there fundamentals to how they're running their business that you're looking at? What's important to you?
Yeah, so like once a company hits like at seven figures, there's a lot of things that you can do, because there's a lot of things that you've done to get there. And then you can come in, and like we can come in and look at a business and find 10, 20, 30 different opportunities, to help grow that company. Because there's just a lot of stuff that the owner just doesn't have time. They don't have time to get to. Like they wish they did, but they don't have time. They also don't know other things that they should do, because there's so many options out there. What people can do, it's like what should do is a different thing. So one company was working with, they're at 4 million, and we went to work. They had pretty good marketing, pretty good sales system. That their fulfillment was excellent. And by the way, it's like I use this terminology that I got from my good friend Michael Gerber. If you haven't read his book E-Myth, go get it. It's absolutely brilliant. But Michael talks about this three-legged stool, and the three-legged stool is lead generation, lead conversion, and client fulfillment. Lead generation, lead conversion, client fulfillment. Got to get leads, got to close leads, and you have to deliver on the leads what was promised. And if you have a three-legged stool, if one of the legs is missing, what happens to that stool? It topples, right? So we go to work on these three legs, and once we have like this three-legged stool in place, this becomes the core building block, like for the business. So a client was working with, they're at $4 million. The fulfillment side was down, really good. This is a solar company, and we went to work on the marketing, because it was pretty good, but good for where they wanted to go. Didn't cut it. We want to make it great, and their sales was pretty good, but the main, we determined the main place to focus was on their marketing. So we went to work on their marketing and on their differentiation, and found out that where they're really excelled at was not what they were like. Their clients had no idea about it. They just knew that they were good, but they didn't know how good. So we developed that differentiation, and we developed the messaging around that. And then we put that out. We tested it, we refined it, we tested it, refined it. And then what happened is they went from 4 million, and a little under 2 years later they're at 20 million. Kept it up, kept it up, kept it up. And a little over 2 years later, they're at 65 million. So from 4 million to 65 million in just under 5 years, because they built these systems, these growth systems, and they got really dialed in on what they're really good at, and the space that they want to own in the market. And we communicated that really effectively, and then their growth took up. It wasn't vertical like right away. It was kind of like kind of like a little bit, and then it took off. And that's where things get fun.
Nice. I love it. So who would you say that you serve and support now? So either who's your ideal client, where do the majority of your clients come from?
Yeah, so I've worked in over 100 different industries. I've worked with many industry leaders, many thought leaders, some very well-known people, some people that nobody's ever heard of. So I work primarily with in professional services businesses and local services contractors as well. So local professional services, coaches, consultants, authors, doctors, lawyers, CPAs, financial advisors, consultants, just a wide variety.
I love it. So you've given us a great Cinderella story of somebody that's been able to put that business growth in place. Is there any industries that you would say that it works extremely well for, or is it merely a matter of getting the executives kind of head in the right place to go, okay, this is what we're going to do now. Here's how we're going to change, and this is how we're going forward.
Yeah, so it works really well. I'll tell you who it does not work really well for. It does not work really well for somebody who's the competing on price. It competing on price is a race to the bottom. So it works. Everyone I work with is they're more expensive than others in their industry. They sell more value add. So it works really well if you're more of a premium service or premium contractors. Like you sell something premium. Then and especially where education, if you can educate people about things, then it works extremely well.
Nice. I love it. So what are some of the stumbling blocks that somebody might be having and they're thinking, wow, Chris, I need to bring you into my business so badly. Like obviously competing on price is not a good one. They're stuck at that at that level, whatever that level might be. What are some of the things that they might be thinking or going through?
Yeah, they're always like going through. It's like I want more. I want more. I know there's another level. I know there's another level, but I can't get there. That's always the starting point. Um, and or they could just be just like, hey, you know what? We've done really well in this business. We want to start a new business. Like centered around that. And I work with a client there, and I built all their marketing systems, all their sales systems, everything like right at the get go. And we went from zero within 4 months. We were doing 2.5 million. But the thing is, they gotta wanna, like my dad used to always talk about, like this Indian tribe called the gotta wannas. You gotta wanna growth. You gotta wanna have growth. You gotta want more. You gotta wanna. But the other thing that they gotta wanna have is they gotta wanna have like more time and more freedom, because a big thing, I'm telling you, a big stumbling block for just about every business that wants to go from 7 to 8 figures is what's between their two ears. Like they don't want to let go of control. They say they do, but they don't. And if they can't let go of that control, they're not going to have the growth. They're going to go insane, and they're not going to have growth.
So what are some of the things that they have to do to be able to let go of that? Because I know if a lot of people have never had to hire people before and they start into a company and they're like, oh, I have to hire people. And a lot of people do it really badly. They don't like to admit that they do it badly. So they like to blame the people that they've hired for not being competent or capable. It's like, oh, it's probably not what happened, but okay.
Yeah.
What's your take on that?
Well, most people when they're hiring people, they don't hire, they abdicate. So they like, I don't want to figure this out, like on the marketing side, like, I don't want to figure out marketing, so I'm going to hire somebody to figure it out, and I'm not going to be involved at all, and wash my hands, and they're going to figure it out. Well, they're really abdicating responsibility for it. When it comes to marketing, like I'm adamant about, the owner, the CEO, the founder absolutely needs to be involved with it, at least initially, not down the road, but at least initially, because that's who they are. It's like the business is a core essence of who they are, and that we need to, like, reach inside their soul and pull out like that beating heartbeat, and just present that to the market. And so they need to be involved, but not on an ongoing basis. Especially like on the marketing side. And I'm sorry, I think I might have taken off on a tangent. I don't know.
I love
Answer your
tangents, and
question,
they make me think, oh
not
yeah,
so,
but in the realm of abdicating, yes, I totally concur. And I think that's one of the reasons why people think that if I hire somebody that's good at what they do, that they're automatically going to be able to lock and load in my company, without me having to tell them, oh, this is how we do it, or here's the content that you're going to need in order to be able to do your job well at this company. A lot of CEOs just kind of don't see it that way. And I still see that as being evident even in the 7-figure businesses, not so much in the 8-figure businesses, because by then they've got some middle management going on, and they've hired some people that can kind of, they know that their role is to give some leadership or some direction to the people that they've hired in order for them to be able to do their jobs well. But I still see in marketing sales particularly that they'll hire well, but then they don't onboard well or train well or kind of whatever the case is. And then they end up spending more time doing the thing because they're like, oh, it's just easier to do it myself, or some variation.
It's always easier to do it yourself in the moment, right? But it's like, do you always want to be doing it yourself? And see, most people, like, they think that, hey, I'm really good at what I do. I'm hiring this person, they're going to be really good at what they do, and they don't necessarily vet them out. Like, if everybody that the company's hired was like you, Michelle, there would be no problem, because you're professional and you're excellent at what you do. So there would be no issues. But a lot of people aren't. There's like a lot of crap and a lot of junk, like providers that out there for things. So and it depends on the level of things. Like when we're working on higher level things, like the marketing, the you gotta, especially on the marketing, the owner needs to be involved. Initially, they got to be involved, get the core messaging, differentiation, the brand promises, core values, getting all these things down. And then it makes the hiring like easier that way when you're like hiring like someone to run it, or you're looking to outsource somebody, with it. Like I had, a great example that I was working with a company, and they went through a program that I had, and it was we got done with the 3 months, and Chris was absolutely brilliant. This is fantastic. We got so much in place, and they hired somebody. So we hired somebody who can do like exactly like what you started off. They're going to take it from here. It's like perfect. That was in March. In December, I got an email from the company. This company was doing about $3 million, and I got an email from them at Christmas time that year, and the email just said, Chris, send me a contract. I'm like, a contract for what? It's like, and so I emailed him back, and we got on a call. He goes, Chris goes, guy we hired, because we got more done with you in the 3 months than we did with, for like 2 hours a week with you, than we did working with him full time for 9 months. He said, we want to work with you. Like send me a contract. So and then he followed that up and said, well, here's the deal. I fired my whole marketing department. I don't have any time myself because I've got other relationships that I'm building and nurturing. And like I believe in what you're doing. I believe in your engineered approach. Here's what I have. Because I've got an operations manager, but she's so busy. All she's got is 2 hours a week. Can you make that work? And I'm like, I said, well, I don't know. Let me ask you. Is she teachable? He's like, yeah. Can she get stuff done? He's like, yeah. And can she follow lead? He's like, yeah. I was like, okay, let's do it. So we met once a week, 2 hours a week, and they were working meetings. We're working, we're implementing, we're doing. And that year, they went from $3 million to $10 million that year.
Nice. That is awesome.
Yeah. So it's but like, it wasn't like vertical growth. It was we just hammering on these systems that we first started building initially, and then fueling and getting feedback, getting results, fine tuning, learn, do, adjust, learn, do, adjust, learn, do, adjust, and then once we hit what Malcolm Gladwell would call that tipping point, then you can open up the spigot and have that vertical hockey stick growth that
well, and you've mentioned this a couple of points or a couple of times, and it's not instant growth. And I think that people are a little crazy if they expect instant growth. Talk to me about the disadvantage to instant growth. Because one, I see it as a fallacy. Two, I see it as a epic error in judgment, if that's what you want to have happen. But that's just me. So yeah. What's your perspective on that?
Well, like, I'm like everybody. Like, I want instant growth. like I wish, that myself and everybody I've ever come across, we could start a business and then go from nothing to no market experience, no nothing, to having a 7-figure business and launching it to 8 figures and having it all wrapped up in less than 12 months. Like everybody wants the fantasy, right? But the reality is it doesn't, it takes longer than that. It takes like learning your market, getting your messaging out, refining your message, fine-tuning it, fine-tuning your differentiation, you know, um, going through future iterations of it until the market starts responding. I had a client that was in a previous life, he built a company from scratch to $600 million, and he wanted to start a new business in the health and wellness space, and he was like convinced that it was going to go vertical, like huge, humongous, like overnight success. And he's like, Chris, he goes, we're going to put out a video, it's going to go viral, everyone's going to share it. It's like, okay, it's not going to happen like that. It's like, how long did it take you to build your other business? And it took me 26 years to build my other business. And we had to grind it out for 13 years. I said, well, like, what would make you think that this is going to be so much different? Like, what? Because it's the internet, right? Because of all the blogs we read, all the videos we watched, all the marketing messages we listened to, all that crap. And and he was convinced. And I remember 2 years after we started working together, he says, Chris, he goes, you know what? He goes, I've finally given up the ghost of being an overnight success. And because he was doing all these other things, like I remember one program, he was like, I'm gonna hire this guy, and the guy was going to charge him like $20,000 and promised he was going to get 100,000 people to a site every week, and there's going to be like 10,000 opt-ins and thousands of buyers, and I'm like, it's not going to happen. And then you want to hire this other guy who was like put together this impressive strategy. And with my engineering math background, I'm like, what this guy is saying is statistically impossible. You cannot accomplish that. He goes, I'm going to do it anyhow. It's okay. Well, let's do this. Let's do a test here. You run his super strategy, and we'll compare that to my boring strategy. And we'll run exact same market, exact same audience, exact same time frame, exact same everything. So his this guy's like super shiny, super exciting strategy, after 3 weeks, it yielded 3 leads at a cost per lead of $5,000, something like that. My boring strategy yielded 634 leads at a cost per lead of $3.54.
Wow.
And so, because it's like people just go for the shebang, but like people promise you shebang, you're like you're getting scammed.
Run
you
far
know
away.
yeah.
Right.
Now sure, there's exceptions to that, but they're few and far between. But it's like, the thing is, it takes time to really like develop your messaging, and especially if you've got a team, a leadership team, to get everybody on the same page, to get everyone like bought into the same vision, to get all the oars in the water all pulling in the same direction at the same time, and not like one client, they had all oars in the water, but everyone's pulling in a different direction. And it's like a picture, like Iron Man, the superhero Iron Man. He's got those
Yeah.
like jet propulsions, like things on his hand.
Yeah.
Well, when they're both behind him and they're firing, he goes straight, and that's great. But what if like the vision that you have,
Mhm.
that's behind you, is shooting you off in one direction? What if the vision that your team has is shooting off in a different direction? It's like you're going to be spinning around. It's going to be super exciting for everybody, but it's going to end up in a great big ball of fire, and and,
Exactly.
and you're going to be nowhere. I mean, it's
Exactly.
entertaining for everybody, but
Well,
yeah, but
and
but yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
I highly recommend that people phone somebody's testimonials. Say, how did it really go? Because yeah, I
Mhm.
mean, and I think too, it's important to understand statistics in that you can kind of rub statistics to look good in any way, shape, or form. But the reality of it is, and when it comes to building a business, is everything has to work in harmony. To your point, both hands have to be going in the same direction, because if they're not, going at the fastest speed you can in mayhem is not a good, it's not a good picture for anybody.
I mean, it's exciting for like a short period of time, right? Because hey, look at all the stuff we're getting done. Look at everything. Wow, look at the activity we're doing. But then when you have your quarterly meeting and you're looking at your KPIs and your sales and and it's like we suck, or after a year, it's like, well, we're nowhere near where we wanted to be or hope to be. So
Yep,
yeah,
I totally get that. So if somebody wants to actually grow their business and actually, have a plan in place where they're going to have somebody that can support them through the tough times, because, any plan has its curveballs. You're going to go, hey, we did this thing and this is what happened. What do we do? I know that our listeners are going to want more from you. So how did they start that journey with you?
yeah, good question, Michelle. Well, and they can always reach out to you because I know you've had a number of good people on the show. So they can say, hey, Michelle, who do you know who can do this? Um,
Chris.
but but like really, it's like they they really need to get crystal clear on the vision,
Hmm.
that they have that they want and why they're doing it. There's a lot of people I work with. They have an exit plan. Like they want to. They've got like I'll hear this a lot, Chris. Like I've got one more push in me, and then I want to sell the company and I want to be set up. I want me and my wife to be set up, my kids and their kids to be set up for life. And if you and like not going to go through the math here, but they can add 50 to 100 fold their net worth just by like growing their business in a well engineered way, and they could like be financially free and have their kids be financially free for life, and also like set themselves up so they're protected as well. But they gotta have that vision. It's like, man, I am here and I want to get to there, wherever that is. And you know what? I understand that I'm going to need to change some things because can you get there, wherever there is, the same way you got here? You know, if you can, great, do it. But most people they can't. So it's like you got to take honest inventory. It's okay, where am I? Where do I want to go? Can I get there the same way I got here? Okay. And am I willing? Am I willing to let go of some things, in a controlled manner to get there and to buy more freedom? you know like if so, that then I can help them, with that. And easiest way to reach out to me is just they can email me or they can go to my website, and I've got it's just a free guide, or 5-day workshop, like people will purchase, get a better feel for me. But
Nice. Well, we will, of course, have all of your links in the show notes so you can go and check those things out. And of course, depending on when you're listening to this, we may even have more links for them. So, all good stuff down there. Excellent. I love it. So, I get to ask you, at what point in life did you know that you were especially kind of crazy enough to think that you could become an entrepreneur?
I wish I could. Well, I wanted to be an entrepreneur when I was when I was a kid, and I started selling hockey sticks. I
What?
Yeah, I'm from Canada, right? And so I bought these hockey sticks. And my friend had these Russian hockey sticks that he bought in bulk, and it's when Canada Russia rivalry series was going on. It was a hot thing, and then so I could buy these sticks for $6, and I sold them for $10 to $20. So it was fun, but it didn't really take root until years later after I was an engineer, and then I saw like how much money engineers made, and I had a good friend who was doing sales, who was making, I think as an engineer, it's like 30 years ago, I was making 60 grand a year. My friend was making like 250 a year, and wasn't, he was selling coupons, like 3 oil changes for $20 at Jiffy Lube. That's what he was doing. And I'm like, I,
What?
I, I missed this class in engineering school. But like, I was playing hockey that day. I don't get it. So that just sparked, the entrepreneur, Michael Gerber calls the entrepreneurial seizure. It sparked that, and then it's like, okay, well,
I love it. Chris, you've been absolutely awesome. Any last words for our peeps?
uh, no, no, I don't. I don't think so. Here's the thing. It's like like if you really wanted to, if you got something inside of you and there's more. Like I've got more. Like I've got this message I've worked so hard on. It's my life's work. I want to make it go big. If there's something more, then like why not get after it? You know, I spent a lot of years playing small. It's like why not just, and most clients have. It's like why not just get after it? I say small, it's like, they're at seven figures, why not get 10 million, then 20 million, 50 million, 100 million, and exit somewhere in there. Start up a passion project. But it's like, man, just get after it. Life is so much more fun when you get after it.
Love it. Couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it, and I know how valuable it is.
Awesome. Well, thank you for allowing me to share, Michelle, and appreciate you having me here.
Love it. Peeps, thank you for being here today. Be sure to subscribe to the show and share it with your friends. We love helping entrepreneurs grow. Thank you for listening to 7 to 8. If you're interested in upping your speaking game, be sure to connect with our guests with the links in the show notes, and connect with me to see how we can help you get your tech done for you and help your speaking dreams come true.